Yes, please. Hello. Okay. Welcome to 1000 Ways, the show in which we try and discover the 1000 ways to kiss the earth that Rumi spoke of centuries ago. So tonight I have a fascinating guest. She is amazing, Mandy Dececco-Kolebaba. Mandy, I know her through Rotary and I know her through her business work, and she's just like a do-gooder extreme. And I know her through she's got 3 wonderful boys. Jack just turned 9 yesterday, and Leo is the middle one, and Jude is the youngest one, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Dean is her hubby, and they are a fascinating couple. They're amazing people, and she has a business called Collaborative Strategies. There's the word, Collaborative Strategies, which is a great organization. We were just having a chat before we had some technical difficulties, where we were supposed to start at 5:30, not 6:07. But anyways, it's okay. And so we were just chatting about how things are changing. Things are changing with her clients' business needs. Things are changing with my clients' business needs. So it's just a different world. So Mandy, thank you for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me.
Tell us about collaborative strategies.
I know it's a mouthful. Well, it started with the idea that I'd been in business, in a previous business for a long time, and seeing that, in all of the leadership roles that I had been in, that often it's a pretty lonely place. And you can't always bring your discussions or your strategy or anything like that to your staff, because, it's just, can make things a little bit difficult sometimes. So there was really there's nowhere for business owners and leaders to discuss ideas outside of the company. And so a lot of them internalize it, and that's what keeps them up at night. So having gone through that a few times in different positions in my life, I was like, I think that there is a niche out there where we can.
I lost your audio. Can't hear you. Did you? Oh, wait a minute. Your mic got turned off. Hang on a second. Okay,
So
are we back?
weird. Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah, you're fine. I don't know what the hell. I never touched anything.
That is so weird.
Yes. So you're saying about how lonely it is to be the owner of the company, or an executive director of an agency. Same kind of thing, right? It's a lonely place. Yeah.
It's a lonely place, and you really need people to bounce ideas off of. So the whole thing was, I love the mental health aspect. I love business, and how could I meld the two? And it's funny because my whole life I've been told, oh my gosh, people tell you everything. And I always have people come to me and, they spill their guts and they're like, I cannot believe I told you all of that. And so my husband's like, I really think that you should get paid to do counseling instead of doing it for free. So a year ago, I decided to go back to school and work on my master's of counseling psychology in the hopes of bringing it to business. And so whether it's one-on-one with business leaders who want to, talk about what's happening at home, which would be blocking them at work, or what's happening at work, which is causing problems at home, or the strategy of their business, the review of their business, and then bringing it and filtering it down to their employees and their teams so that they have healthy mental health relationships with each other and with themselves and with their home life and business life. And I just, if everybody is satisfied and being taken care of, I just think that we get better things from people.
Sure, you bet. I agree 100%. Yeah, it makes really good sense. And you have, what is the master's in? Business psychology? Is that what it is?
Counseling psychology.
Counseling psychology. Okay, yeah. Cool. Yeah. And yeah, I can, the value in that is huge, right? Because, the people, especially the company owners that are the folks that are writing the paychecks, they got a lot of pressure on them, right? I mean, they got the demands of their customers and they got the demands of their employees, and they, and then they have to make a profit on it. And it's tougher and tougher to do that with all of the legislation and all of the different requirements that they have, right? and even a ED type situation, you've been in that role too, right?
Yes.
You got a board who maybe doesn't know what the hell's going on, but
Yes.
they're going to tell you what they think. And you got the clients, and you're trying to, and dollars are always scarce in that environment too, right? So
Absolutely.
yeah.
Yes. And it's one of those things that, I always say,
Just wait. It went on mute again. I don't understand.
no, I don't understand it either.
You always say, you just said, and then it went. That
So
was just for effect, eh? That was just like a
I know.
nice, good one. What do you always say, Mandy?
So I always say that we, like with my family, that no one will love my kids as much as I do and my husband does. So we better make sure they're likable. And it's the same thing with business. I think a lot of times as owners, we think that because we care about it and love it so much and it's our passion, that we expect that same thing from our staff. But if we aren't making sure that it's a business that has great values, great culture, that stands for something, that treats its customers well, treats the employees well, then they're never going to love it that much either.
No.
And so it's it's a bigger thing than just being like, oh, I love my business, everybody else should love it and everybody else should care about it as much as I do, because they never will.
No.
But it's making it so that people are invested and engaged, and that's what sometimes I think we miss as business owners.
Yeah. When you were saying that, Dean said, hey, everybody's talking to you all the time, they tell you all this stuff, that kind of thing. You know why that's the case, right?
No.
Because you are such an exceptional listener that people will just feel comfortable telling you. That's why it is.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
great. Yeah. Like, I think I'm not a bad listener, but I don't think I'm Mandy worthy of listening.
Oh.
I'm not bad.
Thanks, Alan.
So yes, and I'm like 100% on you, especially like where there has been a stigma on mental health in the past, like that is so gone, right? That's like over. Like if you need help in a mental health type thing, which all of us do at some point in our lives, man, reach out and get the resources you need, right? And now all of a sudden there's a lot more resources available, which is awesome, right? That's great news. So
and we need that because we often think of mental illness as affecting a certain demographic or a certain population, and it affects everybody.
Definitely.
And it affects them in different ways. So sometimes that high achiever who could be really struggling, and it's shocking, and you don't realize that, they've got everything together. And that's where I see it. I've seen it a lot with leaders and people that have a lot of things on the go.
Yeah.
And it's, there's still some shame in there that, well, if people find out that I need help, then they're not going to think I can do it all. And it's going to diminish what I've built.
Yeah.
And it's not like that anymore. And we need to.
Oh, wait a minute. Come on. Okay, you're back. You're not touching the keyboard or nothing.
I'm not touching anything.
I don't understand. Every once in a while, it just says, I guess Mandy's done talking, and mutes you. It's not me.
Yeah.
I don't know what the hell. But anyways, you were just saying about mental health and that there is no stigma and that it isn't a demographic specific type thing. It is like anybody, no matter, what color, creed, how much money you have in the bank, you can be affected. You could be impacted, right? So
absolutely. Yeah. And so there was a lot of, I've always been someone that likes to go, go, go. And I remember, feeling that pressure, especially with kids, like, well, if I have a sick child and I don't show up for this meeting, I'm going to not be invited to the meeting again. And it becomes this, where you feel that you need to protect yourself from being a human. And I think that, when I thought about that, I thought, well, I think there's a lot of business owners that do the same thing. You go, 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 and you block things off, thinking that you're still being your best and that you won't lose the client or you won't lose the meeting, but then you're suffering in other ways.
Yeah, definitely.
And so for me, it would be like, well, I'm not taking my child to the doctor. And for them, it's, I'm not taking that day off, or I'm not looking after myself. And so now my family's suffering or my business is suffering. And so, yeah, it's a, it's just one of those things.
So you think that your contribution is predominantly in the health of the individual, like health of the company owner, the executive director, and then how that translates to the health of the employees and the organization. Is that kind of, am I following?
It's kind of both. It's both, because the other thing is that I love business. I grew up in family business. I have always been around business. I was the executive director of the Lethbridge Food Bank at 25, started a business with my business partner at 26. It's just, I love it. And so I didn't want to give up that part of myself either, but I thought it was a good mesh because I have the business side of my brain and the social services side of my brain. And I wanted to figure out a way to make that work for businesses. And it's funny because when I was 17, when my mom asked me what my dream job was, first of all, I always thought that I would be like a famous reporter doing news stories everywhere. It was to go into businesses and help.
Whoa, damn it. Okay, it was to go into businesses. This is a child at your retail store that you were at, your parents' retail store, where you told your mom, this is what I want to do, is go into businesses and help them.
Yes, like to go into businesses, look at the gaps, see, maybe they could do this better, because when you're in the business, you're sometimes too close to how things have always been done.
Sure.
And we had a family friend that did that. He would just go into businesses and watch and look and ask questions and get to know everything. And then he would come up with some ideas to make things different, or to improve it. And I just thought that was fascinating. And so I think it's funny that all of these years later, I'm doing exactly what I wanted to do.
That is amazing. You're living your dream that you had.
I'm living my dream. Yes.
My dream as a child was to be a race car driver. I have not met that one.
Kind of.
Well, sort of. People frowned on me for trying to be a race car driver on the streets. They don't like that very much. So. My wife has absolutely no sympathy when I get speeding tickets.
My husband doesn't either.
Yeah. Well, that is amazing. I don't know if you know this, but what you do and what I do have fairly close alignment, really, because what I do with employee benefit programs, my thought process is this, that health is the ultimate good. If you have good health, you've got everything, right? If you don't have good health, you're in a bad way, right? So health is the ultimate good. And then an employer who values his employees is going to invest in programs that help keep them healthy. And in keeping them healthy, they have better lives, but so they have better lives, and they're also able to better serve the customers of the firm, which means the business has a better life too, right? Or better health. So it's kind of like health for the employees, health for the company, and that's encouraged by the employer investment in those kind of products, right? So that's sort of my alignment with what you kind of do. They're both about
yes.
So yeah.
Exactly.
Cool.
Oh, I have a little visitor here.
Do you? Is that Jude?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So very cool what you do there. And that's what are your predictions, Mandy, for how life is going to be post-COVID when the restrictions start coming off? And, then we get back to kind of more a new normal. It's going to be different than the old normal. What do you think that's going to look like? Oh, your mic's on. Oh, come on. Okay, now you can answer the question.
I think, I've heard two different things. I think that we have to keep in mind that we had people, a large population of hourly employees who will be struggling, and they've lost their discretionary income. And we have a lot of people that were big salaried that, with the way life is, they might have been dipping into their savings. So those discretionary funds, I don't think I don't know. I think maybe it depends on how long this goes on, but I don't know if I see everybody, opening their front doors and running and spending and buying and hiring and
Right.
everything like that.
Yeah.
And especially if the schools are the last thing to go back in, that's a huge percentage of our workforce that will need to stay home.
Definitely.
But I see this as an opportunity to change what we're doing and make sure that our core business still aligns with the values from when you started it.
Right. Yeah.
And taking stock in, am I the best employer that I can be? Am I doing things that my employees want? It's not a weakness to make your employees happy and to give them what they want.
Nope.
And I always say, that equal does not always mean fair. So I go into an office and there's 10 employees and they've got a handbook and everything. You need some things to be regulated and
Right.
for everything. But then there should be some wiggle room. So, I remember going into one company and it was like, well, what do you need? One person was like, well, my kids are off school early, so I'd like to be able to leave at 3:30. And someone said, well, I would like to be able to, I go and help feed my aging mother at lunch. I would like to have an extra half hour at lunch. Someone said, well, I'd like to have, an extra half hour at lunch so that I could go to the gym. And it was like none of their needs were equal, but what they wanted was fair.
Right.
And so if the business owner can adjust things to make sure that people are having their specific needs met instead of it being a one size fits all for everyone and ruling with an iron fist, you have healthier employees, happier employees, and their needs are being met.
Yeah.
And when people, and it's a changing that mindset that they work for me to, they work for me.
Right.
They're showing up for me.
Right. They're valued as opposed to they're a commodity. I can just buy more of this if I want, right? That's kind of the difference, right? Did my question make sense?
Sorry, I didn't hear it because I got muted again.
Okay. Anyways, what I was saying was it's kind of the difference. When you said they work for me or they work for me, it's kind of whether they are valued or not. Right?
Yes.
Really is kind of the difference, right? And that's employers that value their employees are like a huge asset, right? And it's not.
It is.
And making, especially accommodating for moms who are taking care of kids, man, that's a big deal because taking care of kids is a big thing by itself, and women do almost all the damn work, right? That's the reality of it. And so to make that work for them to look after their kids and still meet the business needs kind of a thing or the business obligations, that's super important, right? So
totally. And I feel that for many years we've punished, I'm a mom.
Yeah.
There was times that I was passed up from things because I had kids and that people made decisions for me based on the fact that I had kids. I went to a job interview a little while ago, about a year and a half ago, where I was told, well, this is a pretty big job. How do you expect to do it with 3 kids? And just with that question, I knew I didn't want to work there. So I said, well, I wonder if you asked my husband that same question.
Yeah.
And so it's, when we make a little bit of concessions for the people that we care about because they care about our business, you get way more back than what you lose.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, and this is like where I get really passionate, but, it drives me crazy when companies focus everything on the amount of hours that an employee works for them, where you get so much more if you make it based on what you need to get done.
Right. Right.
Because some people work really quick. I was always a really quick worker, and I knew early on I would never be someone that could sit behind a desk and do the 8 to 5.
Right.
I knew it would kill me. I would struggle. And so there's lots of people like that. And when we say, millennials, or, that this work-life balance is kind of a catchphrase, it's the way it is now. These people are smart. They can work from anywhere. They will work from anywhere. And so as business owners, if we can, we need to make accommodations for that type of work because you'll get way more out of people.
Agreed. And actually, I think that's what we're employers are going to see with this remote work,
Yes.
right? Employers are going to say, hey, this works pretty good, right? The productivity is up, or the same at least, but I think in many cases it's going to be up. The customers are looked after, life is good.
Exactly. I keep getting muted. I don't know what's going on.
I have no idea why that's happening. I've never had that happen before. So it's like the Google gods are trying to shut you up, Mandy.
Yes.
We're not going to let them.
So yeah, I'm looking, like all of my stuff is good.
Yeah, I don't know why. It keeps on muting every once in a while, and there doesn't seem to be any rhyme or reason to it.
Yeah.
Huh. Anyways.
It's telling me that you're muting me.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
I'll hold my hand up here.
Well, that's what I always respected about you, Alan, because I know that you've made, you recognized with your own employee with Vanessa that, she's a mom and that it's important work and that she should be around for her child. And I think that that's so admirable.
Well, it's just makes common sense to me, man. Women do, like, child raising is a huge, important type job in our society, right? Women do it. And then in addition, they do their other jobs. So Vanessa's awesome. Like, I have no qualms about her work ethic or how, like, she's really knowledgeable and very customer focused. She does a great job. So if she says, hey, Henry's not feeling good, I'm taking the morning off. Say, all right, we'll talk to you when we talk to you then. Good.
Absolutely. That's awesome.
Yeah. Yes. So now you are a long-term Rotarian. You are, even though at your tender years, you are a senior Rotarian in your years of service. How long's that been?
It'll be 15 years this year.
Wow, that's impressive.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, I've been 5, but Mandy's like the guru Rotarian.
I don't know about that.
Yeah. When I get confused, I say, Mandy, what should I do now? Actually, Mandy, do you remember that time I kind of did a little faux pas? And then I realized afterwards that it wouldn't be very beneficial for you by mistake. And then I called you up and I said,
yes.
Your response.
I think I called you.
You called me? Oh, I thought
I called you and I was like, I thought we were friends.
Well, I remember how that conversation started. And it was a good one. That was a good one.
It was a good one. Yes. No, Rotary, it is one of those special things that I'm really glad that I'm a part of and part of my life. It's a part of my kids' life. They can spot a Rotary wheel from like miles.
Yes. Yeah.
And I just think that, we're so lucky to be.
Oh, hang on, Mandy. Okay, you're back. It won't even let me unmute you the first try. I have to hit it like 2 or 3 times to unmute you.
Now it's saying Zoom can't detect my speakers.
Zoom can't detect your speakers. Oh, man. It's almost like somebody doesn't want us to do this.
Yes.
All right. Are you good? Can you hear me?
I'm good. Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, and I can hear you fine. And I'm watching.
It's going to be a weird interview with me cutting in and out, hey?
Yeah, it's really bizarre, but it'll be fun. Anyways.
But yeah, so it was something that, I grew up with my dad always saying, no matter how bad you think you have it, someone has it way worse, and we're here to give. And my mom was always like that too. And I have 3 sisters who are like that as well. And so it was like, how can I make an impact and be with other people that think the same way?
Yes.
And that's, I sent an email. I was like 25 and sent an email to a Rotary club, and somebody came and picked me up that day and said, well, let's go for lunch.
Nice. That's right on top of it.
Yeah.
And who was that?
That was Wayne Hawthorne.
Oh, okay.
He's not there anymore. But I had a lot of people adopt me. Like, it's funny, Laura Lee Burton always jokes because she took me under her wing, and she laughed because at that time, I think Dean and I had been together 6 years or 7 years. And I said, I'm never getting married. I'm never having kids. And you know, it was just a few years later that we got married and started having kids. So
that part didn't work out exactly like you planned.
no,
About what you were going to do as a career worked out, but that part not exactly what you were planning.
no, this is way better.
Nice. You have some very sweet young boys, and Dean is a fine gentleman. So
yes, he's awesome.
yeah,
Yeah.
cool.
So yeah, no, I love Rotary. I feel like it kind of, it makes me thankful, and it makes me appreciate all of the good things in my life. All of my friends are Rotarians. I think all of my relationships are Rotarians. You know, Jack was named after a Rotarian who took me under his wing. Yeah, it's just, my feel good place.
Nice. Yeah, it is. And, you know, I think it's actually kind of, I think I was in the past a ne'er-do-well. And now I think I'm a do-good. Oh, dang it, muted you. Okay, you're back. I think I was a ne'er-do-well, and now I think I become a do-gooder just because I'm hanging around with Rotarians like you, and like after what I say, I'm going to do the same thing as them. Look, they keep giving back all the time. So I think that is a big influence for me. Are you frozen, Mandy? Oh. Mandy, are you with me? Hello, Mandy. Well, it appears that Mandy has frozen in the middle of our conversation. So I think we're pretty much going to have to wrap this up. Well, here's what I'll do. I'll call her and we'll just finish the rest of this here. Hey, Mandy.
Hi, you've reached Rand.
All right. I think we're going to have to call this good. But I always end this show with a song, so I'm going to sing a song. Maybe this one by Five Man Electric Band. Here I am, mama, knocking on your door. And if you let me in, I swear I won't be like I was before. You see, I've been thinking about what you told me, rolling it over in my mind. And much to my surprise, I find you're absolutely right. You've been right all along. You're absolutely right, and I was wrong. When you let me in, mama, life's gonna be so fine. We'll be sitting by that fire, drinking homemade wine. We can laugh and dance and sing and play and love the night away. Cause honey, you are absolutely right. You've been right all along. You're absolutely right, and I was wrong. You're absolutely right, and I was wrong. All right, folks. See you later. Next week, maybe we'll have the technology figured out.